Okay, so if you are all in wanting to win the championship, the chip in your Dynasty League, well, we are here to help you. We're giving you guys Dynasty win now trade
Come on,
targets.
baby.
Do us a massive favor. Go ahead and smash that like button for us just to show some love. Subscribe if you like Dynasty content. And I want you to comment down below right now, who's a vet that's really cheap, that's going to help a lot of people win their Dynasty Leagues in 2023.
Come on.
Maybe people look into the comments, it's someone that we haven't mentioned, and they go out and trade for him. You
Yeah.
could be contributing to people winning championships.
Come on, baby.
Hey, do you want our rankings in Dynasty? One quarterback, Superflex, redraft, best ball? Then go ahead and use our code LAND, LAND, at flockfantasy.com/land. You will get 30% off your membership with our code. There's a pinned comment if you want a direct link. And not only do you get our rankings, you get access to all of your favorite YouTube content creators' rankings, articles, community rankings. And if you sign up for the Mother Flocker tier, Badake and I will grade one of your Dynasty teams on a live stream. And you also unlock personalized advice in a DM from us. But we have 4 players to bring to you guys today. And I'm pretty excited about this video. I feel very, very good about this video. I think it will be very helpful for people out there who want to win some championships this year. So I'll go first. The first player I want to talk to you guys about, and I can't believe we're here, but man, he looks like a very solid buy. Let's talk about James Conner.
Oh, boy.
My running back 35 in Dynasty. The community's running back 39. Conner is one of those huge winners after the draft, and not many people are talking about it. In 2022, last year, he had over 1,000 all-purpose yards on 4.3 yards per attempt. He had 46 receptions on 58 targets, and he finished as the RB19. James Conner was the RB19 last year. That is true. But he's still the clear number 1 heading into this season, right? Heading into draft time, Badake and I felt very confident that the Cardinals, there was a high percentage chance they would draft a running back. It was such a deep class. They had, I think, 9 picks in this draft, if I'm not mistaken, or they ended up with 9 picks.
Yeah.
They didn't draft a single running back when the dust settled. So now the only running back worth mentioning behind James Conner is Keontae Ingram. And he was a 6th-round pick in 2022. I brought a video last week. The video was called, it was called Must Own Handcuffs. And Keontae Ingram was one of those players that I talked about. The good news is Keontae Ingram is also very cheap. So ideally, you could actually get both of these guys on your Dynasty team. But look, outside of Keontae, there's Corey Clement, Tyson Williams, all just journeyman running backs who have never held a job for more than a week or so. Barring injury, James Conner will be unquestionably the running back 1 for this team in 2023. And for fantasy, he was actually really good last year. Like, doing my research on this video, my mind was kind of blown on how good he actually was. Let's talk about it. I said before, he finished as the RB19. That's impressive on its own, his finish, okay? But why don't we extrapolate his numbers? Because, by the way, he finished RB19 and only played 13 games. He only played 13 games. So what if we extrapolate his numbers to a 17-game season? What was he on track to do? Well, he was on track to hit over 1,000 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, 60 receptions on 76 targets, almost 400 receiving yards, and he was on track to finish as a RB7. Okay, so maybe you don't like extrapolation. You say, oh, too many factors there. Some other players might have been injured. Okay, well, extrapolating only shows what he was on track to do. Yes, exactly. Maybe you like points per game better then. You're like, I'm a bigger points per game. It's a more accurate way to show what he was doing. Well, James Conner, in points per game in 2022, had more points per game than everyone's beloved Ramondre Stevenson, okay? More points per game than Aaron Jones, Leonard Fournette with Tom Brady, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Kenneth Walker, Najee Harris, and get this, James Conner had more points per game than Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, boy.
James Conner was the RB10 in points per game last year. And okay, maybe you're watching this and you're saying, well, yeah, look, that's great, but he had Kyler Murray last year. He won't have him this year. This is going to be a different team. Well, let's talk about that, because boy, do I have some news for you. I feel like I'm in an infomercial. But let's talk about Kyler Murray. I don't think anyone really knows when Kyler Murray is going to be back. I don't think the team feels any need to rush it. This offense, of course, is going to be better with him behind center. But let's look at how James Conner, how did he fare for fantasy in games without Kyler Murray? Because this might surprise some of you. Well, If you look at with Kyler versus without last year, touches per game were up. I mean, we're going from 16 to over 21 touches per game. Targets per game were up, a full target plus. Total yards per game were up, over 20 more yards per game. And his fantasy points per game, he was the RB 26 in points per game with Kyler. Without, he was the running back 3. That's crazy. That is insane talk. What happened was when Kyler Murray was injured, they just fed James Conner. And respectfully, if it's going to be Colt McCoy again, can Colt McCoy really utilize DeAndre Hopkins and Hollywood Brown all that much? Go back and look last year. D-Hop and Hollywood were healthy to end the year, and that's when James Conner was putting up these ridiculous type numbers. Now, I'm not claiming James Conner is going to be the RB3 in points per game next year. That's not what I'm claiming. What I am claiming is that if you need cheap running back production on your win now team, Conner is very cheap according to the community, and he is, in my opinion, one of the best options. So if you're looking at names that you could start a conversation around, always have to say this, but it's a starting point is what we're giving you, not a finishing line. Okay. You need to start somewhere with an offer. Through negotiations and counters, you get to a finishing line, but we're giving you a starting point. According to the community, some names that you could start with would be Juju Smith-Schuster, Darnell Mooney, Alec Pierce, Romeo Doubs, Cortland Sutton, Gabe Davis, Jalen Hyatt, Tajay Spears. And if you're looking at draft picks, somewhere around the 210 to the 301, or use like 2 future thirds. Yeah. If there's a team in your league who has James Conner and they're clearly not competing, they're going to want to get rid of him. There's no reason why they would want to hold on to him. So he's a very tradable asset. So go out and get you some James Conner if you need some RB help.
Very interesting, James Conner. Who would have thought? Not me. My first guy you should be going to acquire if you are a win now team, that is a quarterback, and that is Aaron Rodgers, not for the Green Bay Packers, but for the New York Jets. Talk it up, baby. Community rankings, QB 26. My rankings, he's my QB 27. Over 3,600 yards this past year, 64% completion rate, 26 touchdowns, finished QB 13. Before I even get into it, understand this could be a 1 year or even a 2 year buy rental if you are a competing team. Obviously, this is a win now video, so obviously it's probably for the 1 or 2 year max. So keep that in mind. It could even just be for this year, depending on how Aaron Rodgers really feels, because it's always an up and down roller coaster after every single year with Aaron Rodgers. But if you have the window, take a shot. So now let's get into it, right? I mean, one of my biggest reasons why you should be going out to inquire Aaron Rodgers right now is the fantasy football history of success. And I think a lot of people were skewed this past year in 2022 with the way he finished, right? I mean, this was his worst career QB rating, and he had his second highest interception rating as well this past year in 2022. But let me remind you, Aaron Rodgers, since he's gotten his official start in 2008, he has always averaged a top 5 quarterback finish for the last 14 years. And you can probably see that on your screen. I mean, all the years he's finished within the top 10 or top 5 finish outside of this past year of 2022. He finished QB 13. So don't let this bad year fool you with saying, oh, well, it was a bad year and I don't know if I want to, invest in Aaron Rodgers. Remind you, he was working with a rookie Christian Watson, a rookie Romeo Doubs. I mean, there was his first year without Devontae Adams. I mean, there was a lot of factors that played into why it wasn't as successful, and you kind of saw that pick up in the second half of the season. That's the main reason why Christian Watson was a league-winning wide receiver for you in your fantasy team. So keep that in mind, right? Okay, and second is the history of success with this offensive scheme that he's stepping back into with the New York Jets and Nathaniel Hackett. He's going back with Nathaniel Hackett. They acquired him. They hired him in this offseason, and everyone kind of thought that was going to get the ball rolling for the Aaron Rodgers trade, which somehow happened when no one was expecting. So now he's reunited with his old offensive coach that he was running the league with over there in Green Bay. So that's going to be a seamless transition. stepping into an offensive language and schemes and plays that he already knows with no hiccups coming into this season, a win now season for this New York Jets team, I think is going to be completely easy. And let me remind you that this offense was a powerhouse offense those years with Nathaniel Hackett, right, from 2019 to 2021. Really outside of 2019, he was ranked 18th yards per game. They ranked 15th in points per game. But in the next 2 years, in 2020 and 2021, ranked 5th in yards per game, ranked 1st in points per game. In 2020, that was in 2020, excuse me, 2021, ranked 5th in yards per game and ranked 3rd in points per game. So he was getting it done. They were getting it done. This offense was a high-powering offense, and he was working it right in the fantasy perspective. So this is going to be easy transition for Aaron Rodgers to easy just pick up where he left off, right, being in that top 5 QB finish for the past 14 years. And third is this Jets team is kind of stacked, to be completely honest. I mean, the offense is good, the defensive good. Look, Garrett Wilson, just like he was saying, another number 17 like I used to play with back in the day. Now with Garrett Wilson, a younger, let's just say Devontae Adams, kind of what Aaron Rodgers was alluding to. Alan Lazard he already has chemistry with. McCall Harmon, the deep ball threat. Randall Cobb, reliable. Doesn't really mean anything, right? Tyler Conklin, a good safety blanket with then Breece Hall coming back stronger. So this is a massive win for Aaron Rodgers. Don't think it's going to be a 1 year in the training wheels. He has to get everyone acclimated. No, he knows the offense. He's coming in with Nathaniel Hackett. He has really good weapons. And if you want to go out and acquire him, like Zach was saying, it's all a starting point. So start somewhere. Players that I'm willing to trade away to acquire Aaron Rodgers in a win-now scenario right now. Kirk Cousins right now, according to the community, you can get him. Pacheco, you can get him as well. Brock Purdy and the Devin A-Chain, all those guys are in that window. And if you want picks, that is an early to mid second round pick in your rookie drafts. So from the 201 to the 203 in a package, however way you want to do it, just to get it done, I'm happy to take the risk on a 1 year or maybe 2 year deal with Aaron Rodgers on the Jets.
Yeah, I think to me, it's 2 years at minimum. So, again, if you're a win now team, he's a great super flex option. And a lot of people play super flex leagues. We love super flex leagues. So showing a little bit of love to them. I'm going to give you another quarterback that I think is an incredible buy. If you can't get Aaron Rodgers, I actually prefer this player over Aaron Rodgers, but both are good as far as like my rankings. I'm not saying one's a better value than another, but I would have this player ranked a little bit higher. A good buy right now based off of his market value in Superflex leagues. If you need a good quarterback too, Geno Smith. My ranking is a quarterback 21. Community ranking is a quarterback 21. So we're kind of like, this is a good value, but we don't want to put him any higher than that. In 2022, he was incredible. Over 4,200 passing yards at 69.8% of his passes being completed. 31 total touchdowns and 11 interceptions. He finishes the quarterback 5 in fantasy football. This is Pete Carroll's guy. This is his dude right now. If Pete Carroll trusts Geno, I think we should also trust Geno. Pete knows how to get the absolute best out of his quarterbacks. Look what happened to Russell Wilson. Maybe a little bit unfair, but look what happened to Russell Wilson when he left Pete Carroll. Fell off an absolute cliff. I think that says a lot about what Pete Carroll does for a quarterback within an offense, and the way that his offenses look are very quarterback friendly. Carroll and the Seahawks, both the GM and Pete Carroll, put their faith in Geno this offseason by signing him to a 3-year, $75 million contract extension. I can already hear the comments. Well, what about the out? There's an out after this year. Oh no, there's an out. Okay, a couple things there. The Seahawks are going to be a good team. So do they want to move on from Geno Smith next year? They're not going to be in a position to draft Caleb Williams or Drake May. If they wanted to go quarterback, that would have to have been this year, in this year's draft, when they had a top 5 pick and a pick in the 20s. They're not going to be in a position to pick one of those top quarterbacks next year. But secondly, because I hear this out conversation a lot in Dynasty, and I understand where you guys are coming from, but okay, so technically, yes, there is an out. But there's a dead cap hit of $17.4 million on that out. Geno would have to play horribly for this team to really cut him and go in a different direction. It's just unlikely that with the team around him, he's going to be that bad that they have to end up cutting him. And let's revisit the 2022 season for a second, because I don't think people realize how good Geno Smith was in 2022. He was 8th in passing yards. He had more passing yards than Trevor Lawrence, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers. He was 4th in passing touchdowns. He had more passing touchdowns than Justin Herbert. He had more passing touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence. His completion percentage was the best of any starting quarterback in the NFL. He had the best completion percentage. Again, we said over 69%. Joe Burrow was the second closest in the NFL, and he was 1.5% off of Geno Smith. That might not sound like much, but that is a lot when it comes to completion percentage. He was so good for this offense. If you look at adjusted yards per attempt, he was, I believe, 7th in the NFL. Again, higher than Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, Justin Herbert. His quarterback rating was 9th. His quarterback rating was 5th. That's higher, again, than Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert. Geno Smith wasn't a fluke last year. It's not a fluke when you do it for an entire season. Like, even myself, I was waiting for the wheels to fall off. They did not fall off. He consistently put up good numbers and was very good for the team. If you look at his fantasy finish, he was quarterback 5, and in points per game, he was the 9th. I think that is the more healthy expectations. Don't buy Geno Smith expecting him to be a quarterback 5, top 5 quarterback this year. Buy him expecting him to be a top 12 to 15 quarterback here in 2023, because based off his price, you can do that. But look at any quarterback metric that you like that defines quarterback play. Okay, Geno Smith will be high on that list from last year. You might be saying, well, he has to do it again this year. Great, because the weapons only got better around him. They added my wide receiver 1 in Jackson Smith-Njigba in the first round. They added my running back 3 in the draft, in a deep draft, and Charbonnet in the second round. They added a guard in the 4th round. All these guys are added to what is already a top 10 offense in points per game last year. And the identity of this offense is often misconstrued. Often I hear, well, the Seahawks are so run-focused. They're so run-focused. Well, last year, they were very well balanced. They didn't lean one way in particular, but they were 15th in pass attempts per game, so right middle of the pack, and they were 22nd in rush attempts per game. Now, with Charbonnet coming on board, you think maybe that goes up, but also you added a first-round wide receiver in Jackson Smith-Njigba, so this team is likely to see much more 3 wide receiver sets. I think we'll see a very similar offense. It was successful. You're just going to see better playmakers around Geno Smith. So if you look at prices that I'm willing to pay, well, if you look at players, I would be willing to send away DeAndre Swift, Derrick Henry, Pacheco, Christian Kirk, Kadarius Toney, Aaron Jones, James Cook. If you're looking at draft capital, anywhere from the 112 to the 203, again, in most leagues, Will Levis won't even be there at the 112. But let's say you're a win now team and Will Levis is available. Are you going to bet on Will Levis to figure it out year 1 and be the starter and beat out Ryan Tannehill? Or are you going to bet on Geno Smith being the guy here in Seattle for the next 2, 3, 4 years? So Geno Smith has played really, really well. Great weapons around him. The offense has only got better, and I like his price. So go out and buy Geno Smith in Superflex leagues.
Yeah, very interesting. Geno, I like here, without a doubt. All right, my second player, last player on this list in this video for you guys, and that's Darren Waller. I had to get a New York Giant in there without a doubt. There's a window now, right? Currently community rankings, tight end 10. He's my tight end 15. So you guys are a little bit higher than me. I kind of would go in the younger route, obviously. But if he does fall, why not? 2022, he did miss 9 games, 28 receptions, 43 targets, over nearly 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. Once again, missed 9 games. Was one of the top tight ends in the first 2 weeks, right? Top 3 tight end in the first 2 weeks, and obviously had the fall off. But the reason to buy is honestly this offense, right? Daniel Jones, a potential big year, another big year for DJ, right? This past year was the best year for Daniel Jones. Best QBR, best completion rating, the highest yards he's ever thrown. He finished QB 8. Excuse me. And that was only year 1 under Brian Dable and Mike Kafka's offense, which I think is pretty impressive what they've done over there with New York and how DJ really turned it around. Now, what you do in the draft is that you draft a center and you help this offensive line. Not only do you do that, you get Jalen Hyatt, who is the speedster that can spread the field. And did we like him coming out of college? No, but he does do one thing, and that stretched the field which is exactly what is needed for this offense to have everything fall down below, right? And now you look at the weapons. When you really look at it, this team has a lot of names on the roster, has a lot of wide receivers in the wide receiver room, but all fall within the injury concern, right? Just like Darren Waller, Darius Slayton has had problems with injury. Paris Campbell, injury. Isaiah Hodgins kind of comes out of nowhere. Sterling Shepard towards ACL, Achilles in the past 2-3 years. What's going to happen? Wan'Dale Robinson towards ACL. Jalen Hyatt now comes in. Daniel Bellinger, right? Saquon Barkley. I mean, these are all injury history people here, even with Darren Waller. But if you're looking for somebody that can step up, that is exactly what they did when they acquired Darren Waller. They needed that big weapon, right? We were hoping we get Quinton. We were hoping we get Jackson Smith. We were hoping we get one of these wide receivers in the NFL draft, but that didn't happen. So who is going to be the true big weapon? All offseason, everyone saying Daniel Jones needs a weapon. Is Paris Campbell really that weapon? No. Is Isaiah Hodgins, Sterling Shepard, Wan'Dale Robinson really that weapon? No. It's Darren Waller that is going to be the Mark Andrews, the Travis Kelce to Daniel Jones. Is he going to play in that massive high caliber? I mean, we're hoping so. I'm hoping that he can be that guy for DJ. But I think it's significant to remember exactly what he has done as well in the past in an offense where he was the primary guy, right? Since 2019, he had a massive step into this tight end room. In 2019, tight end 3, 2020, tight end 2. In 2021, he finished tied at 17, but he missed the last 6 games, or missed the 6 games within that period. But in the first 6 weeks, he was tight end 4, so he was on pace to be a top 5 tight end that year as well in 2021. So look, the weapons is now there for DJ. He has Darren Waller. Now the biggest question: can Darren Waller stay healthy? And I would say I hope so. Right, I mean, we can't really predict injuries, and that's what we do here in fantasy. But I think he is going to be the difference maker for DJ. He's going to be a guy that they're going to insert into this offense, just like with Mike Caff coming from the Kansas City Chiefs, who's had the history with a number 1 tight end in Travis Kelce, now coming and insert DJ with DJ and him on this New York Giants offense. So I think it's a pretty good pickup here if you really want to win. If you do need a tight end that can be that difference maker for you on a good price. Players I'm willing to sell to acquire Darren Waller. Obviously, it's all according to you how you feel. Dalvin Cook, AJ Dillon, Keenan Allen. People say Monty, but I think I'd rather hold on to Monty right now. But maybe you can sell him right now because of Jahmyr Gibbs. And picks is a 207 or later in your rookie draft. So I'm happy with that. If Michael Mayer's off the board, Sam Laporta's off the board, and you really don't want the Luke Musgraves or Tyler Crafts, and hey, take a shot with Darren Waller here. So I think that could be a good pickup for you guys.
Yeah, Darren Waller's for redraft. I'm really excited about him, and that could mean for win now teams he could be a fun buy. I can't believe the community's at tight end 10.
Yeah, it's up there. It's
a little tough to swallow, but I think you're right. He will be the weapon there. I just wanted to quickly say that I put up a poll a day before we recorded this video, and I asked people choose one running back to add to your dynasty team. This is just going back to my James Conner take. We had 3,500 votes at the time, 12 hours after the poll went up. I had AJ Dillon, Tajay Spears, and Brian Robinson as the options. AJ Dillon was he had the number 1 amount, I guess, at 34%. Brian Robinson was at 32%.
Come on, B-Rob.
And then Tajay Spears and James Conner were that 3rd and 4th options. James Conner just at 20%. So I tried to put a bunch of random names in there to see kind of like what the community thinks. James Conner you can buy. Again, just wanted to throw that out there. I forgot that I had done that. But that's all for today. Do us a massive favor. Go ahead and drop a like on the video to show some love. Subscribe if you like Dynasty content, and we will see you guys in the next video. All up. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, LAND, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy. Even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.